Alright, so let's talk relationships. Relationships are one of the most impactful factors when it comes to determining a team's output and their productivity and the quality of their work. Essentially, it breaks down to the better relationships shared between the people on the team, the better the output of the team is going to be. Essentially, the more you like each other, the better you're going to work for each other. Now, it's really unfortunate, but a lot of the time, relationships are overlooked when it comes to supervising a team. If you've ever heard the phrase, you don't need to like this person, you just need to work with them, that is someone overlooking the importance of a relationship. So let's talk about why it's important. A lot of supervisors feel like their employees should work for their paychecks. If I were to ask you, why should your employee do a good job? And your response is going to be so they can get their paycheck or because they're getting a paycheck. Basically what you're doing is saying that the only reason anyone should do any work is so that they get a paycheck. Which the subtext of that reads, do the bare minimum work that will keep you employed and nothing else. As long as you're doing enough work to keep your paycheck coming, then there's really no need to do anything else. Just stick with that. And usually the bare minimum is not great work. Usually the bare minimum is not even good work. The bare minimum is usually the it's okay but needs improvement type of work. And unfortunately, a lot of supervisors will set that standard with the team. As long as you're doing enough to where I don't have to write you up or fire you, that's fine. So if you're looking at a team and you see their long-term performance has not been stellar, and you talk with them and their supervisor to ask, well, what motivates you to do good work? And if the paycheck is the number one response that they're getting, then that's a clear indicator that relationships have been clearly overlooked in this team. So in summary, if you don't have good relationships in place, people are only going to work for their paychecks, and people who work for their paychecks put out shit work. So let's look at the opposite end. Let's look at teams who have good relationships with each other. So imagine yourself and the current team of people that you work with on a consistent basis right now. How much do you like that team? Answer that question for yourself. How much do you like them? So that answer that you just gave determines how much you're going to work for that team. If you don't like them, you're going to put out the bare minimum. That's bad for you, bad for the team, bad for the company. If you think they're okay, then you're going to do a decent job. You're going to do the job to a good level. People are going to say, yep, this was a good job. It met the deadlines, it met the requirements, way to go. And if you have fantastic relationships with your team, you love them, that's going to motivate you to want to give your all, so your work typically looks fantastic. Your work typically looks stellar by anyone who witnesses, because you have that extra motivation to go the extra mile for the people that you work with. And that's why relationships are so important, is because they're a key factor when it comes to identifying who's going to go the extra mile or not. The people who are going to go the extra mile are the ones who want to do good work for others. And when those people are surrounded by team members that they love, they're going to go the extra mile on every single thing that they touch because they know it affects their team. If I've worked with Stacy for 12 years and she's really close with me and I know that this project is going to affect her workload, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it is as high standard as possible to make her life easy, because she's important to me, because we've worked together for a long time and have a great relationship. If I've worked with Jared for 3 years, we've become really close in this short amount of time, as well as he's helped me on numerous projects where I had no idea what I was doing, and he stepped up and helped me even though he didn't have to. Guess what? When it comes time to return the favor and I get to help him or I get to support him through a project, I'm going to go the extra mile because I know that he has done it for me and probably would do it again. My great relationship with him is going to motivate me to want to do better work. And that's kind of a key thing to understand when it comes to relationships influencing your work, is that you're doing the work for someone else. You're doing the work for your supervisor. You're doing the work for your peers. You're doing the work for the team that you oversee yourself. You are doing this for other people because those people are important to you, because of those relationships. When you don't have those relationships in place, work falls to the bare minimum standard. When those relationships are there, you will see people pushing themselves to the absolute max because they're doing good work for someone else who's important to them. So as a leader, part of your role is going to be developing and supporting relationships with the team members under your supervision. Not only with each other, but also with you, with clients, with other teams that they might work with. You want to make sure that every single work relationship that they have is a good, positive, supportive one that they are going to want to work very hard to maintain, or very hard to support the person who they have that relationship with. Good relationships are fantastic natural motivators. So let's start off with the relationship that they have with you, their supervisor. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times people will see relationship building as, oh, let's do team building exercises. Let's all go out for coffee, or let's all have lunch together, or let's all attend this thing. This is not a team building exercise. This is a one-on-one relationship developing exercise. This is something specifically for you and the person that you oversee. So to develop and maintain a great relationship between the supervisor and the person that they oversee, a really fantastic and efficient way to keep and maintain that is to have a one-on-one check-in with every single person that you oversee once a week. This is a 15-minute conversation where you are in an area where you can't be distracted by other people. You have their full attention, they have yours, and you're going to ask them 3 specific questions. First question you're going to ask them is about their life balance. It's going to look like this. Hey Josh, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. Let's get right to it. How's the balance and everything in your life going right now? Work, life, activities, family, do you feel like they're all semi-stable? Do you feel like some are falling to the wayside? Do you feel like some are overwhelming? Tell me what's going on with you. That's the question. It doesn't need to be really formal. Actually, it kind of hurts when the question is repeated the exact same way every single meeting, because then it kind of becomes more of uniform checklist type of thing, like question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, as opposed to an actual caring, organic conversation. So in some way, however you communicate, ask them how their life balance is between work, family, hobbies they might have, plans, travel, maybe a sick pet. Whatever you know is important in that person's life, ask them, do they feel like everything is in balance, where they can give enough attention and effort to everything without some things falling to the wayside. Now, this is not a generic, hey, how are you doing? How's your day been? What'd you do last night? Type of question. This is a question where you really want them to start telling you about their life. This is a question where you really want them to start deep diving into how their life is going, for a few different reasons. One, it's your chance to completely shut up and let them talk. This shows them that you actually care about their opinions and their life and what they're sharing with you, because you are just sitting there listening, giving them your full attention. Undivided attention is hard to come by, so when you're willing to give it while they're just talking about their pet, that really makes people feel like you actually care about them. 2, it gives them the chance to express what's been going on in their lives. Maybe they have things that are stressful. Maybe they have things that are conflicting with work. Maybe everything's sunshine and rainbows and they just want to share how great everything is. Getting that chance to express what's going on with your life is sort of a vent session. It gives you the chance to get it all out and share. This reduces stress, increases happiness and fulfillment, and really makes the person who's sharing feel more comfortable and safe with whoever it is that they're sharing it with. Especially if it starts happening on a consistent basis, they're going to get a lot more comfortable sharing those things with you. And when they get comfortable sharing those things with you, they're going to get comfortable sharing other aspects of their job that they might be a little too uncomfortable to share right now. So by doing this repeatedly, you're building up that trust and that habit of, it's okay for me to share with my boss. And 3, it's a really, really, really good insight for you to keep track on how everyone's doing. If you see that someone's work is starting to falter over the last few weeks and you ask them about how everything's going, and they say, yeah, my personal life's just kind of been a wreck right now, you can use this as an opportunity to gauge how long do you think this person's going to be struggling for, and you can make accommodations and adapt to it. So you know that if they're going to be falling behind, you can maybe rally the rest of the team up to pick the slack. That way team performance overall doesn't go down. As well, you can use this as an opportunity to really, again, develop that relationship between you and your employee. If you see their work has been slacking for the last few days and they come in and say, yep, no, everything's been great, sunshine, rainbows all the way, you can tell them, I'm a little concerned about you because your work the last few weeks has been a struggle, and so I'm wondering if there are any external factors that might be influencing that. I want to know, not because I want to get you in trouble, but because if there's an opportunity that I can support you, I want to take it. I want to help you. And sometimes it might take a little while before they actually start to tell you what's actually going on, and they actually start to give you the actual dirt on what they're struggling with. But with consistency and support, they will get there. And again, that really strengthens the relationship between the supervisor and the employee. You can talk about it with them for about 3 or 4 minutes. They should be the ones who are primarily talking. You should talk in the form of asking questions, and they should be answering with extended answers. So you guys talk about that for 4 or 5 minutes. Question number 2, you ask them, in the last week, what could I have done better to help you? That's it. I'm not saying you did a bad job. I'm not saying that you need to pick up your slack. I'm not saying I have any concerns. What could I have done different to better help you? Now this question's important because it kind of puts them in the power seat. They're the ones who get to give the constructive criticism. They're the ones who get to make critiques on your performance. They're the ones who get to tell you what they need from you. When you initially start off with this, you're gonna get a lot of non-answers, which is just basically, oh no, nothing I can think of, or no, nothing comes to mind. No, this last week was good, you didn't need to do anything. This could be one of a few things. More often than not, especially if you're new to having these conversations with people, it's kind of an indicator that they don't feel comfortable criticizing you just yet. Because obviously some people don't take criticism very well and it can have repercussions. So it takes a while to develop that trust. So don't be too worried if this is what you're hearing initially. But go on to tell them that you really want to improve your support of not only them, but your entire team. So maybe it's not an interaction that you had with them specifically, but what could they have done to help out the team better if there's nothing individually that I could have done better for you? The team question might get you more traction your first couple of times asking this question, but eventually you want it to swing back around to what could I have done better to support you? What could I have done to help you perform better? And again, it's fantastic if they give you feedback. Well, at the meeting the other day, you were late, and it kind of made a lot of us feel like you didn't really value our time. Or when you gave so-and-so feedback the other day, they took it really harshly, and you didn't really do any follow-up to minimize that damage, and so it kind of affected a lot of people because we all had to kind of console them and tell them that it's okay. Or this new project that we have rolling out in a few months, we're all concerned about because we feel like we still don't quite know what's going on. And I feel like you didn't really explain it to us in this last week. That's what you could have done better. Now, again, this is important because it puts them in the driver's seat in giving you feedback and criticism and critiques. Another reason as to why this question is important, because it's a fantastic opportunity for you to show that, hey, I value your input. When they tell you to do something better and you correct it moving on in the future, or you just openly address it with everyone. Hey everyone, I got some feedback that I didn't explain this very well. Or I've been showing up late to meetings and that wastes all of your time and I apologize for it. When you can act on their feedback, it really drives home that I care about your opinion. And when they feel like you care about their opinion, not only are they going to give their opinion more often, but again, they are going to trust you and that relationship is going to get even stronger because this is the supervisor who actually cares about what I have to say. So you're going to talk about that for a few minutes. Third question is, what can I do in this upcoming week to support you better? Until we meet again, what can I do to help you do a better job? What can I do to help you or the team? Again, maybe start off with the team if this is your first few times having this conversation with them, but eventually you want to get to this individual question with each individual person. What can I do to help you specifically do better? Now this question is important because this puts people in a position where they can tell you what specifically they directly need to do a better job. So if you are having performance concerns with somebody, let's say if you have employees that you don't really trust, let's say if you have people who you're on the fence about, should I let them go or not? Let's say if you have people who started off strong and are just a mess right now and you don't know what happened, this is where you learn. This is where you figure out why it is people perform the way that they do. You ask them, what can I give you? What can I do for you to help make you better? Whatever they ask for is what you've been lacking. So if they say they want more training in a certain area, you didn't give them enough training. If they say they want more FaceTime on questions, you haven't been giving them enough FaceTime. Again, this is feedback that you should run with. If they say, I would like this more from you, you should be giving it to the entirety of the team. So A, the entirety of the team is getting something that benefits them. B, the person sees that, again, you actually value their input. And C, again, you're strengthening that relationship not only with the person who gave you the feedback, but with the team who you're now giving the new support to. Because that team can now say, oh hey, Jessica gave this feedback and the boss made these changes, maybe I should start to give some feedback, or maybe this person should, bring this idea up, or maybe we should talk about this problem that we've been having. It gets people more comfortable with having those open conversations. And again, The more of those conversations that you have, and then when you act on the feedback that you get, the stronger the relationship between you and your employee is going to be, because they are going to trust you more. They are going to communicate with you more. They know if they can ask things of you and you can ask things of them. They know that your top priority is not only them, but their team. They know that you want them and your team to succeed. And really, these conversations are vital to high-performing teams. Now, one issue that typically comes around with these types of conversations is that supervisors get lazy and they just stop doing them, or they reduce how often they do them. If your team's doing well for 9 months straight and you've got a busy week next week, yeah, it might be easy just to, knock off a few of those one-on-one meetings that you have with some people. If so-and-so has been doing good for 4 months and they say they don't really want anything from you, they just want to keep doing their job, yeah, it might be easy to cut their meetings to once every other week or maybe once a month. Or if you're swamped and you feel like everyone knows what they're doing and they work well together, you might reduce check-ins to just once a month or all together. Do not do this. Check-ins are important for building relationships, yes, but they're also supposed to essentially be your maintenance on the team. These check-ins and one-on-one meetings are how you keep the team up and running. Picture it like this. If you were to brush your teeth tomorrow morning, and your teeth were to be strong and white when you looked in the mirror, would you say to yourself, oh, I've gotten my teeth to where I want them to be, so now there's no need for me to ever brush again. I'll just stop brushing, I'll check back in a month, and if they look kind of gross, then I'll brush again. Probably not. You do the brushing every single day to avoid plaque buildup, to avoid cavities, to avoid gingivitis, to avoid expensive doctor office visits. The brushing your teeth is a maintenance to avoid problems. You don't stop brushing your teeth until a problem comes up and then you start brushing again. Same thing with these check-ins. You do the check-ins every single week with every single team member to avoid bigger problems down the line that are going to take up a significant amount of time. You do the check-in to see if everyone's happy and if everyone has what they need to work. If they are not happy and if they are missing what they need to work, you learn about it at the check-ins and you make those corrections before it can snowball into a cavity. Do not get lazy with the check-ins. Do them every single week. If you can't do them face-to-face, do them over the phone. If you can't do them over the phone, do them over an email. Find some way to do them. So that's the purpose of a check-in. You do it not only to build relationships between you and the people that you supervise, but you also do it to do team maintenance. So you can make sure that everyone is happy and supportive and has what they need to do a good job. And no problems build up that you're not aware of. 15 minutes for every single person that you supervise. Make time to give them this face-to-face interaction. I promise you it will not only improve the relationships between you and the team, but also between team members. It will increase team production, it will increase your retention rates, and overall people will just be happier at work. How's the balance of everything in your life? Last week, what could I have done better to support you? Moving forward for next week, what can I do to help you be more successful? Do those every week and you will be golden.